Okay, so Captain America Civil War, the biggie. Everyone's been waiting for it. Even though people were excited about Batman v Superman, they've really been looking forward to Captain America Civil War, mainly because at this point, you know, the Marvel Cinematic Universe has really established itself as consistently making really great superhero movies. And I think the excitement for Batman v Superman was more A, we want to see them fight, and two, what can DC do establishing a cinematic universe? So I'll just say right out the gate, because I think it's hard at this point, especially since they came out so close to each other, not to compare them. Civil War is the superior movie, uh, and that's all. That's all I'll say about Batman v Superman, and we'll move on. So, and we'll talk about Civil War itself. It's of course the next Captain America movie, which was it's actually the third Captain America movie. You had the first Avenger, then you had the Winter Soldier, and now you have Civil War. Uh, it's a great movie. I'll just get all that out of the way, and then we'll talk about other stuff. Great movie, great comic book movie, great action movie. A lot of cool stuff going on. Great special effects, good fight scenes, good story. Um, Paced extremely well. That was one of the beefs that I personally had with Batman v Superman. The pacing of this movie was good. They were able to work in a lot of characters and even introduce at least two new major characters. Uh, but it all paced well. It all came together well. Everybody had their moment to shine. So it just that right there, and all the reviews are good. It's making great money overseas before it even opened in America, and or in the North America, United States, and now it's of course doing really well here, getting great word of mouth. So it's a great movie. It's another notch in the belt of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Marvel Studios. They're doing a great job. So, just a great action movie, great Captain America movie, whatever. Although I'll touch on this now. This could really have been Avengers 2.5 or really Avengers 3. It's so central to the Avengers as a team and the Avengers characters. Now the Hulk isn't in it. The Hulk isn't as it. The Hulk is not in it, and Thor is not in it. Shield's not really in it. It's more about the United Nations. But other than that, I mean, it's a lot of it happens like the Avengers compound talks about how the Avengers as a group should handle a situation. It starts off with an Avengers action sequence. So for a lot of the movie, this is really an Avengers movie and not a Captain America movie. Now there's a subplot, or really another central plot. Everyone already knows it's about a question of philosophy that divides the superheroes on two teams, and they end up both arguing verbally and physically duking it out. There's another point theme that's central to the plot. It's kind of a dual plot, maybe a subplot, but it's a pretty strong subplot about how far do you go to help a friend? Are you willing to throw it all away to help a friend on the principle of helping a friend? Even when everyone else is telling you let it go, this is crazy. And that's the part of it that's a Captain America movie. But all the Civil War stuff, which is a huge part of the movie, three-quarters of the movie, it's straight up an Avengers movie. So, if you like Avengers movies, you're gonna be happy. If you like Captain America movies, you're gonna be happy. If you like both, you're gonna be happy. If you like action movies, superhero movies that are really well done, you're gonna be happy. So there's some philosophical debate about this movie that it raises some very important points. I'll get into that before the video's over. First, I want to talk about more of the movie making and the comic book experience. As I said, really well done, incredibly well paced. They worked in a lot of characters. Everybody had their chance to shine. Of course, they introduced Black Panther, who I liked. I thought he did a great job, both in costume, and I thought that the character was interesting out of costume, equally interesting in different ways. They don't beat around the bush. They're from Wakanda. Wakanda is kind of a very technologically advanced but isolationist nation from Africa, uh, and that kind of plays a central role part of it in the whole thing, in the whole Civil War aspect. Something that Wakanda is in support of. And the actor was great, and I'm looking forward to a Black Panther movie. So I thought all that was great. Spider-Man, fantastic. Uh, I like the actor they got to do him. We got to see more Spider-Man than I was expecting, so that was good. It's definitely not. He doesn't dominate the movie by any means, but he gets more on-screen time than I was expecting, and the on-screen time that he has, both as well, I'm not going to say anything good. Just it's good, and he's a really good player in the big burly brawl at the airport, which I'll talk about now. Don't go read up on anything if you haven't already. Don't go spoil yourself. I mean, we all know from the previews that they're at an airport and they're running at each other, so there's a fight that happens at the airport. All I'm going to say is amazing action sequence of scenes. It, when I was watching it, and I'm a comic book nerd from way back in the 80s, or late 70s even, it can be argued, but really in the 80s was where I really got bitten by the comic book bug. And when I was watching this fight at the airport, I was like, finally, it's here. When you open up the comic book and there's the double page spread of the huge fight with all this stuff going on where you're studying all the details and there's all these different interactions going on with the characters and amazing interaction of powers and combat styles and all that. And there's just huge, bigger than life fights, which they've been building towards in the movies, but they haven't quite had this level of this many characters going at it all at once. It's here. It's finally here. The double page splash, you know, spread, whatever you want to call it, major comic book, multi character, double team on team. It's finally here, and they did it. It was really good. So I think that scene is worth the price of admission alone to this movie. Really well done. And just the interplay and the dialogue and the witty banter and everybody's using different powers and everybody gets a chance to shine. Not only in that fight, but in the movie itself. And they spring some surprise characters on you. I mean, from the movie poster or whatever that they're all going to be in there, I guess. But the way they come into the movie, they kind of spring them onto you at different times. Just a really great action movie, great superhero movie, another solid, more than solid, excellent, great entry into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Again, Spider-Man, he's doing his witty banter during the fighting, and everybody's really pretty much in character. There was one character, um, I'll just say the Black Widow for a while seemed to be out of character to me, but then they kind of reined it in or whatever. So at first I was like, I didn't feel quite right, but the way everything washed out at the end, I was like, okay, I think they still kind of kept her in character. So great movie, go see it. Even if you're not into comic book movies, if you just like action movies, go see it. It's good surprises, good funny moments, good serious moments, great dialogue, some twists and turns. I didn't see how the movie ended coming, to be quite honest. There was kind of a wrinkle, I guess a twist, if you want to go. I actually didn't see coming. So go check it out. It's very good. I recommend it. Now, philosophically, I very much was Team Cap going into the movie. Liberty versus taking away our rights for safety. That's just kind of, and at the end of Captain America Winter Soldier, he basically allowed S.H.I.E.L.D. to go down because S.H.I.E.L.D. had become dangerous and not the best thing for citizens. And that's just kind of how I am. I'm not saying there's never a time for safety, but it can get out of hand, and too much can be taken away as a reaction because of fear. So I figured I'd be Team Cap, and I got to say I was Team Cap coming out of the movie. Now, one thing they did a good job of, which I figured they would, because you can't tell a good story if you don't make a story like this anyway, where people who you're rooting for both sides, or they want you to kind of root for both sides, because they want all the characters to be sympathetic. I thought they did a pretty good job of, even though I didn't agree with Iron Man, Tony Stark's take on things and what he's trying to do, They did a good job of I understood why he was doing it. I'm like, okay, I get it. I don't agree with you, but I understand the strong motivation that you have and why you've come to that decision. So, like if I was Cap or whoever, I'd be like, I don't hate you, but I still got to disagree with you. I got to stop you, but that doesn't mean that I think you're the scummy villain of the earth or anything like that. And they did a good job with that, of the motivations, at least for Iron Man and Captain America. Everybody else kind of lined up. I don't know, because they rally behind the person they trust most or something. I don't know. The motivations of the other characters weren't as explored as in detail. Now, War Machine, they went into some of his, and uh, and Black Widow a little bit, but really it's about Tony and Captain America, and Tony and Steve Rogers. And I thought they did a good job of where they're both coming from. And I thought there was good debate on both. There was a couple points where I was like, oh, I can kind of see that, but no, I still got to go with Cap. So that was good. Uh, some of the stuff philosophically that I thought was interesting, they picked out of the movie. I actually took this. I'm like in the movie making notes like a big dork. Um, Here's some notes I made. One, oh yeah, don't forget, there's two post-credit scenes or credit scenes. So like one in the middle of the credits and one I think at the end of the credits. So make sure to stay for those. They really upped the Falcon's game, his armor or his outfit or whatever. They've really upped it. Um, they did a really cool technologically special effects interesting thing with sort of our young Robert Downey Jr. I'll get into the philosophical stuff here in a second. I'm just trying to see whatever other notes I made here. Yeah, amazing fight choreography. There's a lot of characters to keep up with, but they did a good job of it. Very good job. Um, there's more Spider-Man than I expected, and it does a good job of introducing new characters and not messing up the flow of the movie. Big time comic book battles can now be done. That was a note I made during the movie. And I was on my friend Dave Ellswick's radio show yesterday, and he said it's like the double page fight. And I was like, yeah, Dave, that's exactly what I was thinking when I was in the show. So, um, somehow with that many characters, everyone gets a moment. And also I wrote this is in while I'm in the movie. This movie compared to Batman versus Superman really shows the strength of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Um, I wrote it really doesn't seem to become a Captain America movie until about the last 30 minutes. That's my personal opinion. Uh, and the fight between the two main heroes, it had a lot more reason or heart or believability to it than in Batman v Superman. And again, I wrote Avengers 2.5 because a lot of the movie is 2.5. Now, to the philosophy of the movie, there's some this is a movie you can have some good philosophy or philosophical or political discussions about. Oh yeah, I wrote through some sweet shield action. There's some very sweet shield action in this movie that Captain America does with his shield. So some philosophical things that it comes down to is it's the right to choose. Do we have the right to choose, or should others be able to come along and choose for us? Okay. One side is led by fear of what might happen. Okay, that's not to say that it's an unfounded fear, but it hasn't happened yet. And they're saying, hey, we got to do all this because of what might happen. Um, I made another note in here. They had these big titles that would go across, not just little subtitles, but these huge, bold white titles that would go across the middle of the screen to show what city or nation they were in. I really didn't like that. Maybe I'll get used to it over time, but that was the one thing about the movie that kind of I didn't like. But anyway, one side is led by fear of what might happen. Somebody makes it when they're trying to appeal to Captain America, they say staying together is more important than how we stay together. No, and I disagree with that. Staying together is more important than how we stay together. I disagree with that. There have to be limits to what you'll do to quote unquote stay together. Um, and at another point, they basically say, hey, we're doing what has to be done to stave off something worse. Again, they don't know for sure that what's worse is coming, and in the comic book version of Civil War, there was Iron Man was kind of a futurist, and he was seeing all this stuff coming, and they allude to that a little bit in the movie, but, um, and then somebody else at one point says, I can't control their fear, only my own. So I just thought that those points really stood out to me philosophically. You know, it's about do the Avengers let the governments control them and tell them what they can do or what they can't do. And and even if the government right now you trust them, what about the government 10 years down the road? So there's some really good philosophical stuff. And like I said, both sides make good points during the movies. It's not a one-sided debate. So anyway, go see it. I think you'll enjoy it. I'm still Team Camp. Uh, did I say camp? No, it's not campy. It's great. Uh, I was Team Cap going in. I like Iron Man. I like Tony Stark. You know, I've always liked Iron Man in the comics and his movies, but if you're gonna make me choose Captain America over Iron Man, I gotta go Cap. You know, I was like, smash him in the face with your shield, Cap. And they do throw down. So remember, it's not just about liberty versus safety. It's also about what would you do for a friend. So go check this movie out. Excellent, really great movie. I really don't think you'll be disappointed on any level. And there was a great range of. There were adults, older people, younger people, families, people hanging out by themselves all day. There was a great range of people in the theater, which was sold out, by the way, on Thursday night. And another buddy of mine went to a different theater, and it was sold out. So I think this movie's going to have legs and do really well. Go check it out. Thanks so much for watching the Shane Plays spoiler-free, I guess, sort of review / reaction to Captain America Civil War. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and leave a comment and maybe a thumbs up on the video if you would. I appreciate it so much.